I've looked back and seen that over the last 3 years, God's been speaking to me a lot about 2020 and being ready for it and the shift that was going to take place and the shaking that was going to happen. So I do believe this is something which God has been preparing for, even though this isn't God's thing, but he's been ready for it and he's been getting people ready for it. And I think the love frequency and releasing love is part of that. And I think if you go back 3 years, a lot of people wouldn't really have known how to do that or really have seen that in the same way as they are now. I think the whole understanding of frequency and all of that has taken a big leap forward in the last 3 years at least. I see this as something that, that we are called for a time such as this, and we have a role to play governmentally in it. And being a frequency is one minor aspect to it. And I think that is keeping things in balance and keeping things in check when fear could cause it to, rapidly escalate. And I think we're keeping it balanced. I think governmentally, there are other aspects to that where frequency of the planet and all of that stuff, we saw that spike down in Colorado Springs when we did an engagement. There have been subsequent spikes, some really, really significant spikes since then, which I do believe is part of this frequency that we've been releasing. But I think the planet itself needs to be ministered to so that the tension that it feels because of fear is released in a way which is not harmful to people. We have a responsibility to steward creation through these type of dynamics because there's a shaking going on, and that shaking can have a negative effect if we don't counterbalance it with, our level of frequency and sonship and light and the enlightenment that we have by living in rest. And I think our rest counterbalances a huge lot of fear that the world is in, which is why I think God has been speaking about rest and focusing people into living in rest and being able to, release rest for the last few years. Again, it's something that, I've been focused on a lot, and everywhere I've been in the last few years, I've been teaching about how to maintain rest in the midst of a storm, because Jesus was asleep in the boat in the midst of the storm, living in the eye of the storm, if you like. And when they woke him up in fear, it was sort of a very simple, peace be still, because that came from who he was. It wasn't something that he was panicking about. Obviously, it was like, no, peace be still. I'm bringing creation into my rest. And if we continue to keep focused in rest, being yoked to him in that sort of union with him, then we don't have to be concerned about what's going on, and we can begin to administrate into it.